Hi everyone, it's Tatyana from Tatyana's Everyday Food, and today I wanted to share with you guys a special Valentine's Day dessert. Today we're going to be making a chocolate mousse parfait with chocolate cake, caramel sauce, and raspberry sauce, and I absolutely love this dessert. It's so delicious and it's so easy to put together. It's the perfect dessert for Love Day. I'm going to start by preparing my custard base for the mousse first, and this is because it needs to be cooled completely before we can incorporate with our whipped cream, and then we'll move on to our cake layers. In a large bowl, I'm going to add 4 egg yolks. So we're going to start by creating the base first for our mousse, and then I'm going to add half a cup of white granulated sugar, and I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So I'm going to give this a quick whisk, and then I'm going to set it aside. Into a small saucepan, I'm going to add 1 cup of heavy cream, and then to that I'm also adding 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. I'm going to give this a good whisk until there aren't any clumps, and then I'm going to bring it over to the stovetop. I'm stirring and cooking my cream and flour mixture over medium-low heat, and this needs to cook for a few minutes until it's hot but not boiling and it starts to thicken. When you remove your cream and your flour mixture from the stovetop, it's going to start to clump together, and that's perfectly okay as long as those clumps don't start to burn. And then you just want to whisk it until it's really nice and smooth. It's going to be a thick, creamy paste, and now we're ready to add it to our egg yolks. We're going to add a little bit of our cream at a time, and we're going to whisk after each addition. So this process is called tempering. We're slowly cooking those egg yolks so that they don't separate. Once you've incorporated all the cream and flour into your egg yolk mixture, we're going to pour it back into your saucepan. We're going to take this back to the stovetop. I'm cooking my custard over low heat, and it needs to be stirred constantly. It needs to cook for about 5 to 7 minutes until it thickens up into a nice custard. I transferred my cooked custard back into my mixing bowl, and now we're ready to add our chocolate. So I have 1 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. We're going to add them right in here, and you want to add this while it's still hot. Just take a whisk and just give this a good whisk until all that chocolate is melted. And you can see the consistency of it has really thickened up. It's like a nice thick pudding. And now to cool our custard, I'm going to transfer it into an ice bath. I'm just going to place my bowl on top of some ice. And you can either whisk it or you can just let it sit here, give it a whisk every 5 to 10 minutes. We're going to keep it here until it's completely cooled. For the cake component in this dessert, I'm actually going to be using my classic sponge cake recipe, and I'm going to tweak it a little bit. I've split it in half, so we're going to be using just 3 eggs, and I'm also going to be adding some melted chocolate to add that nice creamy chocolatey flavor. I'm going to place 3 large eggs into my mixer bowl, and to that I'm going to also add 1/3 cup of white granulated sugar. And I'm going to whisk this on high speed until the eggs are really thick and pale, and they're going to be almost white in color. Next, I'm going to add my flour. So I have half a cup of all-purpose flour. I'm going to add half a teaspoon of baking powder, and then I'm going to sift this into my egg mixture. So you want to sift this just very gently. You want to use a spatula and just fold everything in very carefully. I've melted half a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips in the microwave. You can put it in the microwave for about 2 minutes and just stir it every 30 seconds until it's really nice and smooth. Now we're going to add it into our cake batter, and you want to fold it in really gently. So I'm actually just going to pour it kind of on the side and then work everything in. You want to fold the chocolate into the cake batter very gently until you have a very nice and uniform mixture. I have an 8-inch cake pan lined with parchment paper. I'm going to pour my cake batter right in there. And then I have my oven preheating to 350 degrees, and we're going to bake it until the center is completely set. Once your cake is done, you want to take it out of the oven, let it cool completely, and then you want to cut it into small bite-sized pieces like this. And now we're ready to assemble our mousse. So in a mixer bowl, I whisked together 2 cups of heavy cream. You want to make sure that it stays cold, along with 1/4 cup of white granulated sugar until it's nice and fluffy. So for the first step, I'm actually going to add a little bit of my heavy cream into my cooled custard. We're going to fold it in gently, and this is just to thin it out a little bit. So just take a spatula and just gently fold it in. And now I'm going to add some of my custard into my whipping cream. So you want to add a little bit at a time and fold it in very gently. So this process is going to take about 5 to 7 minutes, but you want to make sure that that whipping cream stays really light and fluffy. This mousse looks so delicious. I cannot wait to try it. You can see just how chocolatey and delicious it looks like. So after I mix everything together, I'm actually gonna transfer this into a large pastry bag. If you don't have a pastry bag, you can always just spoon it into your dessert bowls or your dessert cups, but it just makes things a little bit easier. What I like about this dessert is you can prepare it in any glassware or bowls that you have available. You can use a large wine or water glass like this. And today I'm going to be using these really nice brandy glasses. I think this is the perfect glass for this dessert. If you don't have one, don't worry, you can prepare it in anything really. You can also use a nice glass bowl like this one. Or if you're taking it to a party, you can even buy these nice clear disposable cups, and the dessert is going to look great in these too. And now we have everything ready to assemble our dessert. We have our cake, and then for my raspberry sauce, I just combined 1 cup of fresh raspberries, or you can use frozen, with a 1/4 cup of sugar, and just mashed it together with a fork. And then for my caramel sauce, I just bought some coffee caramel sauce. I love the consistency of this particular one. You want it to be a little bit runny so that it soaks into those cake pieces. I'm gonna place a few of my cake pieces on the bottom of my dessert glass here. I'm gonna add a couple spoons of my raspberry sauce in here as well. And now we can add our mousse. So just pipe it gently out of your piping bag all along the edges of the glass. Just pour it right in there. And now my mousse is ready to go in the refrigerator and needs to set in the refrigerator overnight, or at least 10 to 12 hours. And then you can garnish the top with some fresh raspberries, some mint leaves. You can even pour a little bit of the caramel sauce over the top. And now I'm just gonna let my mousse parfaits set in the refrigerator overnight, and then we're gonna enjoy them tomorrow. And half of them I put into these nice disposable cups that I can hand out to my neighbors and my friends. And today I assemble these in a single layer with the cake at the bottom with the 2 sauces, and then I put the mousse on top. But if you have a nice tall glass, you can layer it, so you can have a cake layer, mousse layer, cake layer, and then top it off with the mousse layer. And now it's time to give this a try. This is absolutely delicious. I love how creamy and how rich this is. It's just so chocolatey and it's so delicious. You guys are gonna absolutely love this, and whoever you make it for Valentine's Day is gonna love it as well. And then once you get to the bottom, of course you have that cake, the raspberry, and the caramel sauce, which is gonna finish off this dessert in the best way possible. I hope you guys enjoyed this video recipe. If you do make it this Valentine's Day, make sure to share it with me on Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe. You'll get updates every time I post new videos.